Hello and welcome to HKB The Results Show. I'm Jay, and today we're talking with Dr. Bharti. He's one of the founders and one of the surgeons at HKB Cosmetic Surgery. Dr. Bharti, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's really cool that we get this opportunity. You brought three cases to talk through today. Let's jump right into the cases. Case number one, we have a facelift. Let's talk about it. Let's bring up the before and let's walk us through this case.
This lady is an amazing patient of mine who I hold near and dear to my heart. She presented to me. She's actually one of my patients from Tennessee, where I used to live and practice, and she came several hours to come see us at HKB. And she was just tired of the way she looked. She's a beautiful person inside and out, but she just felt like her face did not represent how she felt. And so she really was just wanted to improve her overall look of her face and her profile. And you can see from her profile, looking at her neck, when you see that lateral view, this looks like an oblique angle. This should be sharp and defined. And so she hated that. She hated how long her forehead was. She felt like her brows sat low. She just felt like she looked tired when you looked at her frontward. And then she had these jowls here, and she was just done with it. And so she just wanted to basically go back to how she looked before she gained weight, lost weight, and then added many years to her life where her face just kind of fell down. And so we came up with a plan to help her get back to where she was, content, and did a facelift on her, which is the main part. So in the face and neck lift, we addressed this lower 2/3 of the face, and we also removed some extra fat here in the under the chin area, and kind of just reposition it. It's like a reset. This is not to make her look abnormal. And you can see the dramatic change that she has. I mean, she just looks like a different person. She looks elegant. It looks like she lost like crazy amounts of weight. And really all we did was fix her facial contouring. We elevated her brow to a more youthful position. We did upper lid blepharoplasty on her. We also did some micro fat grafting. And what we did is, we addressed multiple areas. So this is called a pan facial rejuvenation. So sometimes when people come in, they're like, "Doc, I need you to do my eyes." And they got these little binoculars on. I tell them, "Listen, you got to take those binoculars off. We got to look at the whole face." And that's what we do at HKB. It's comprehensive improvement of an area, but we have to sometimes bring it to their attention. And so she just looks, I mean, when I look at her, I'm just so proud of her, and her results just stunning.
Yeah, let's throw up that before and after image. It is quite stunning. When I saw it the first time, I was like, that looks like the
So
same person, but 15, 20 years younger, just more alive. And I get what you're saying. She kind of was matching how she feels. Like
mhm.
she did not feel right. And I think that's a big part of it, right?
I agree, and it's almost like this thing. It's like reconciling your books when you're talking about like your finances. It's the same thing with the way you see yourself in the mirror with how you feel. And I feel like we have that ability to reconcile patients so that they can look as good as they feel. And it looks natural when you see this woman. She does not look pulled. She does not look distorted. She just looks rested, natural, elegant. She just looks her personal best. And then she's got this confidence. When she comes back in the office, she just struts in there and has a smile ear to ear. And there's just nothing more satisfying. And when you look at her closely, like you can zoom in on this. You don't see scars. I mean, there are scars there. I'll give you that, but they're not obvious. Like they don't look distorted. They don't
Where would
grab
they
your.
be?
They would be right here in the ear area behind the structure here called the tragus, and then tightly behind the ear. And then for the eyelids, there's little scars in the crease, so they're hidden. The key is that they're in places that you don't notice because they're in shadow areas or areas that don't draw attention. So I think that's the key in all this. But I mean, it's amazing. You can see how her eyes are more open. They look rested. She's able to apply makeup in her upper lid area.
That is a drastic difference. What does someone go through when they're looking for this type of procedure?
So when a patient comes in, sometimes they don't know what they wanted. They just know that they need to address something. And so a consult process is, typically patients will either submit something online, they might message us on social media, they may call into the office, or they may come in through friends, kind of word of mouth, and then they'll do a consult. In a consult, they're going to meet our whole entire team. They're going to meet us, one of our surgeons, and then we have a long conversation. That process takes at least an hour to 2 hours of time. During that time, first, we just want to listen and hear what a patient has concerns about and see if we can come up with a plan to help them achieve those goals. Sometimes we actually need to analyze them, explain to them kind of what's going on, what can be done. And sometimes you don't have to do all this at once, right? You can talk to them about, hey, listen, here's what I see. I see that your skin has a fair amount of age spots, like in darkening and wrinkles. In addition, your skin is fallen and there's some volume loss. We could do X, Y, and Z, or you know what? We can start with this, do this, and do this, and over a period of time, we can help you achieve your results. Whereas other patients are like, listen, one in and done. I need to get back to where I was 10, 15 years ago, and then we can adjust our plan. So depending on what we're doing will kind of dictate how long the procedure is. Let's just say we're just going to do a lower face and neck lift. That takes about probably 3 hours to do. If you do like an upper lid blepharoplasty with it, adds about half an hour. If you do brow lift with it, adds about half an hour to an hour. If you do resurfacing, about half an hour to an hour. Fat grafting, half an hour. So if you're addressing everything, then it can be like a 5 to 6 hour procedure, which is kind of where we top out. Sometimes patients also even want to have their noses done, like a rhinoplasty at the same time. And all of that can be done, but sometimes we do need to break things apart. What's interesting about face is recovery usually isn't that difficult. It's surprising because it doesn't hurt. It's not like a big body procedure, like a mommy makeover and a tummy tuck where you're tightening the muscle wall where it's really painful. People usually spring back pretty quickly, but you have a little swelling, you have a little bruising, and you don't necessarily want to be out and about with your crew or in front of people for a little bit of time, and at least 2 weeks, but no major event for 4 weeks.
How much does something like this cost? Are there financing options available? How does insurance work with something like this? Can you take me through the process?
Totally. And listen, these things, these interventions are no joke, meaning they are big investments. They're investments from a standpoint of, opportunity cost, meaning you're going to put a scar somewhere. There's a cost that you're going to pay, and then there's time off work potentially. And we recognize that, and they're not cheap per se. The cost totally depends on what we're going to do. Obviously, a bigger intervention, it's going to be more cost simply because it's more operative time. And so sometimes we can do a mini facelift, which is just a shorter scar, and you can get a beautiful result. Some people need to have a full lower face neck lift, deep plane type of work. And others might need an upper lid, lower lid, fat grafting, resurfacing. Sounds like a lot of stuff. But so that does have a piece in kind of the cost equation. And cost can be anywhere from a couple $1,000s to $30,000-$40,000 or more potentially. And there's some places around the country that are double, triple that. And the thing I always tell patients is, listen, that you are making a huge investment, but you need to choose wisely. You need to find an individual and a team, an organization that's going to be there and take care of you and get the result that you're looking for. And so I think you can't necessarily put a price on that, but there are options to finance. We have some great options at HKB where we can do things like Care Credit or Patient Fi, where you have a year time interest free, which is remarkable. It's like, why not
Wow.
utilize that resource? But the thing that I will tell you, which is so powerful, is that more and more people are working longer in lives. More and more people are living longer and are staying healthier, and want to be competitive both in the workplace, but just want to just still identify as themselves. And so the change in how powerful this is remarkable. And the other thing is, like, it's not necessarily for someone who's 70 or 80. It's not necessarily for someone who's 50 or 60. It is for anyone who's exhibiting those signs of facial aging. So sometimes we do short, small mini lifts on people when they start showing those signs, just so that they still look like themselves. Because the one thing I always tell patients is, you don't want to yo-yo. You don't want to look young, old, young, old, young, old. You want to look like you. It's like this continuum of aging where once you get to that sweet spot, let's try to keep you at that sweet spot.
Can you keep doing it over and over again? How
Yeah.
do you make it so that you can maintain normal so you don't end up looking like a cat?
It's a great point. Actually, what's interesting about this is, yes, you can have multiple facelifts. The key is how they're done. Just because you're having multiple facelifts doesn't mean you're pulling harder and harder each time. That's the total opposite, actually. The key is that first intervention, when it's placed in a location that is aesthetically pleasing, then you just reuse it. So when things drop, you just re-elevate that, lift and tighten, put it right back. There's no reason for you to be pulled and distorted. But the thing is that what we're actually able to do now is we're marrying non-invasive with invasive. So you can do a big intervention, and then what you do is you do this concept that I coined kind of preservation after restoration. It's like, you get, anything that you do to anything, if you get a high-end car or a crappy car, you got to take care of it. You got to polish, you got to wax it, you got to detail it for it to look its best. Same thing after facelift. If you do these smaller steps, you can kind of downgrade what you're going to need in the future. So sometimes you won't even need that secondary intervention. You can definitely do repeat facelifts and they look beautiful and elegant. And some of the most prominent people that you and I see on the television screen, or even like prominent, politicians, athletes, all these people are getting these things, and the ones you're like, man, they look amazing. I mean, they don't age. Oftentimes they are having interventions.
If you are interested in getting a consultation, virtual consultation, or in office at one of HKB's 8 locations, go to hkbsurgery.com. At the top, there's a link that you can click for schedule a visit and just go there. Now we're moving on to case number 2, and this is a very popular procedure. It's a breast lift.
All right, so this is an amazing case, and I love this case. I love this surgery because it is so elegant, it's so restorative, and it just gives women confidence and functional improvement. This is a young girl. I mean, she's in her 20s. She's got her whole life ahead of her, but she has these really saggy breasts that she is super self-conscious about. Her brow has to lift and hoist everything up. She gets skin on skin contact. They talk about this concept that of boob sweat, where literally she gets wetness under her breasts, and all she wants is she just wants her breasts to be where they're supposed to be and look youthful and elegant. And so what we did on this patient is something called a breast lift, aka mastopexy. And it's a procedure that we do at all of our HKB locations. All of our surgeons can do this and do it very nicely, where we reposition and tighten the breast and move it up on the chest wall. And we don't take the nipples off. Sometimes people think we take the nipples off and put them back on. What we literally do is remove the excess skin and recone and reshape the breast. And you look at that elegant contour from the side view now. We have total restoration of the breast on the chest wall. There's no implant. There's nothing added. She has the easiest recovery, almost no pain. She doesn't require narcotics afterwards, and the results instantaneous. And I mean, this is life changing for this girl, both functionally and aesthetically, and it doesn't get better. And the scar burden is very well tolerated. Her areola are smaller, and her breast shape is just beautiful. And the scars you see, listen, there are scars, but that's pretty early on. Those scars will fade and blend into the background. They won't disappear completely, but I mean, her shape and contour is it's a different person, and she's one of the happiest patients.
And are the scars go vertically on this one, on this
Yes.
procedure?
The distribution is around the areola, so that's called periareolar, and then infraareolar, there's a line, looks like a lollipop distribution, and sometimes there's a little scar in the fold called the inframammary fold. So the distribution's almost like an anchor, but one thing that we try to be careful of is to try not to make it too long of an anchor scar, because we don't want that to show when they're wearing a bikini or any kind of revealing clothing.
What are you doing in this procedure? Like what is the mechanics of it?
I can't tell you all my secrets. No, I'm messing with you. So what we do is so the breast sits kind of down here, and what we do is we remove skin from the lower pole and we recone and shape that breast. So you take what's there, recone and shape, and reposition the nipple to a higher position, and then you tighten the skin. So you basically, the tissue's just hanging down. We kind of reshape and retighten and cone it together so that it's like a normal youthful breast would be. And that's all done with internal absorbable sutures, so there's nothing permanent left behind. It's all her. Like, essentially, this is a quote natural procedure, with the only thing that we've added is us manipulating the breast and adjusting its position and the amount of skin excess.
Sensitivity remains the same, feeling, all of that?
Yeah, because so that's a key, is the nipples are left on. So the color, the perfusion, the ability to hopefully breastfeed is preserved. The sensitivity is all preserved. Sometimes they can be a little hypersensitive, which means they can have more sensation, or they can have a little bit of reduction. But typically after 6 months to a year, that the neuropraxia, which is kind of the nerve when you kind of beat up the nerves a little bit, goes away. So typically people have full sensation.
Now you said hopefully breastfeed. I know a lot of women that might perk them up, especially a young woman.
Yeah, so here's the thing, is when we are doing this, we're not doing anything to disrupt the connection between the nipple and the breast and the ducts that drain the breast. The breast has glands in it and different tissues that produce the milk. And so we are preserving that connection. So that's why most of these patients should be able to breastfeed. The reason why I can't say absolutely they're going to breastfeed is that sometimes there's just girls or women who are unable to breastfeed or need to supplement. So I always kind of try to qualify that statement, but we've had numerous patients be able to go on and breastfeed. And there's some decent literature that shows that they should be able to, whether they have a breast lift, even a breast reduction, and or an augmentation where you add an implant type thing potentially. It's just an important thing for them to note that they might have to supplement or they may have an issue. So I think it's one of the things for just awareness.
How's a breast lift consultation go?
So when a patient comes in for a breast lift consultation, a lot of them have been thinking about it forever, and they just haven't taken that plunge, or they haven't jumped in, or they didn't know that you could do something. And when they find out how simple it is, they're just like, "Oh my goodness, I wish I would have done this forever ago." But typically, they'll come in, they'll reach out to us either through social, email, or phones, and then we'll set up a consult. It can be virtual or in person; both work very nicely. And we then review what's going on and what their goals are. I want to know kind of, do they want to be bigger? Do they want to be smaller? Do they want to be tighter? What are they exactly hoping for? Do they want their areola to be smaller? Are there other areas of concern? So we spend about an hour together to figure out kind of what the issue is, what's possible, and what they want to do at this point. And then they meet our coordinators, and we kind of get the ball rolling on logistics. And sometimes people are ready to go immediately. Sometimes they need to chew on things and make a plan and think about things. At the end of the day, they need to take as much time as they need, come in as many times, talk to me or our team or other surgeons as many times as they want, email us. We just want them to be totally informed about kind of what's possible for them.
What is the average cost of a breast lift?
Average cost of a breast lift depends on a couple things. One is if it's just a breast lift versus if it's going to be, a breast lift with something like fat grafting, or a breast lift with some other liposuctioning, or breast lift with an implant potentially. If they want to go that route, knowing that implants have to have maintenance and future surgery for exchange or removal eventually. Yeah, the prices are variable. They can be anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000 to 15 to 20, depending on what we're doing.
Gotcha. So it's a lot like, it's a very case by case basis. And that's why it's good. Go to hkbsurgery.com, click on the schedule a visit button, get that consultation, and just see, it's worth the conversation if you're a good candidate for one of these procedures. Let's move on to case number 3. Case number 3 is what we're calling it's a mommy makeover, which you have a really good case here. Let's walk us through the mommy makeover.
So the mommy makeover is one of the things that really we shine at HKB, and all of our surgeons and locations. And it's a lot of fun because the results can be so dramatic, but also they're so restorative, meaning you give people back kind of what they had after going through this harrowing experience of having children and bringing life into the world. And sometimes you can actually get patients to a point where they're even happier than they were before having kids. And so this patient, for example, she hated the way her tummy looked. She hated the way her butt flowed into her lower back. She just didn't have the curves that she had in the past, and she also wanted to have some breast enhancement as well. And she just wanted to get back. She just felt like everything was just gone, and that she was doing things to get healthier, but she needed something to jumpstart things back, and she just wanted to look like herself and feel feminine and beautiful again. So we did a multi procedure intervention on her, where we did circumferential trunk liposuction. So you can see this. Look at this result. I mean, this is just like, whoa. I mean, I mean, it is just like, sometimes people joke with me and they call this the gut to the butt, because basically she had all this tissue in the front, and it looks like we just got rid of it, and then all of a sudden she has beautiful curve in the back. Now, if you look closely, what did we do? We did circumferential trunk liposuctioning, where we thinned her trunk down, where if she was this thick, we kind of took it down to about half. We don't go down to paper thin, because that'll look weird and lumpy bumpy. We want people to look like they did not have surgery as well. And then we got rid of that excess tissue in her lower back to give her that curve back there. And then we did some buttock volume enhancement, where we transferred fat to her buttock. We didn't necessarily give her a monster butt. We didn't give her a huge hippie butt. We just gave her an athletic looking buttock. And then we did a full abdominoplasty with muscle plication, where we got rid of that pooch in the front, got rid of all that extra skin, tightened her muscles, snatched her waist, gave her more curve back, and then recreated and got her a pretty new belly button. And I mean, this is just such a dramatic result. It's beautiful. And obviously she did her work too. Like, this was, I always tell patients, and we all of us surgeons tell our patients, 70% of this intervention is on us. The other 30% is on you to maintain what you got, and maybe even take it that next level. Because if they just take it that next level, what I mean by that, just eating well, being a little bit more active, then, oh my God, you're talking smoke show city. Like, it's just going to be incredible. And I just love this case. Is just, I mean, it's so awesome.
I mean, to go from that of being in a place where, probably before she had kids, she looked the other way and she was used to that.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
it's a lot to have kids, and this is just a beautiful a beautiful result. What kind of healing time is something like this? Because this seems like a lot.
Yeah, it is. And so here's the thing. What's funny about this, and I was talking to one of my buddies and some other patients too. The key thing with like a mommy makeover, or when you do multiple interventions, is what the bigger surgery, what's the core surgery. So the core surgery in this is the tummy tuck, and that's the one that kind of regulates the recovery basically. So by adding the other things, it doesn't really change the recovery duration. Maybe it changes the intensity. But typically, what I tell patients is for the first 4 weeks or so, no heavy lifting, no killing it in the gym, no real working out, no ocean pool swimming for about a month or so. But that means, but they need to know they're up and walking the night of their surgery. They stay with us overnight at our HKB facilities, and they are walking that evening. Ideally, they are walking hunched over though, because we pull them pretty tight. So you have to walk around bent over for about a week, and then you straighten up. And there's some pretty intense swelling for the first little bit. You have to wear compression garments for about 2 months. But basically, the cool thing about this is when they're, and I was telling them, you might hate us for a minute, but when you look down and see that it's all gone and you were thin, flat, and tight, snatched, looking beautiful hourglass figure, and your breasts are in the right position, they're typically, all right, it's all good. I'm good here.
Yeah.
One of the other things too is we use something called Exparel for the muscle plication, which is the muscle tightening part of the procedure that can often hurt pretty bad, and it numbs the anterior abdominal wall to make the recovery just so much better. But what's really cool about it too is after about a month, most of the swelling is gone, like 60-ish, 70%, but it takes about 3 to 6 months for every drop to go away. And so, the key is we so the consult, the surgery, super important. So is the aftercare. So is that hand holding after, so they know what's going to happen, how it's going to go. And ideally we try to give them all that stuff on the front end so there's no surprises. But these are usually just amazing interventions to be a part of.
Yeah, this is really beautiful work. For anybody who's looking to get a tummy tuck, a mommy makeover, make sure you go to hkbsurgery.com, click on the schedule a visit button, and make that consultation. And again, you can get a virtual consultation or an in person. Just real quick, what does a virtual consultation consist of for patients?
So when we do a virtual consultation, it's a pretty robust process. Our entire team and organization will interact with the patient before, collect all your kind of medical history information, find out what your concerns are. The next is we'll get images of you to kind of assess and know kind of where the areas of concern are. And then we would do a video conference with you, with me and my team, and kind of go over the consult like we would do in person. And then we will come up with a plan. So I am 100% a fan of it. It really works well, obviously, from people from out of town, for that come and see us. There are people from all over the country that'll come see us. Sometimes there are people abroad in international areas that it's the ideal way to do it. But I think that, and it's also on the patients. A lot of patients are just very comfortable with that kind of a meet and greet and interaction. Others need to have that see it, feel it, physical contact. And I think all that works for people who are far away. We can also arrange the day before to reconfirm everything, go over everything, and sometimes we can modify or change plans right before as well. But our goal is just listen. We want to make it convenient. We want to make it easy, but we also don't want to cut any corners. The joke is the only corners I cut are skin corners. But we really want to just do whatever we can to get people their best result and make the process easy.
Absolutely. If you want to learn more about what Dr. Bharti is doing, how can they follow you on social?
Yeah, I think it'd be great if they follow our practice, HKB Cosmetic Surgery, on Instagram. They can follow me, Dr. Gaurav Bharti, on Instagram. Also, we have TikTok accounts and use all of the social platforms. Our website, super informative, hkbsurgery.com. And the other thing is, listen, we're easy. Call us. We want to do everything we can to arm you with all the information possible. Even if you decide to go somewhere else, let us help you in that journey.
Thank you for your time today, Dr. Bharti. On behalf of HKB Cosmetic Surgery, this is the Results Show. I'm Jason Sorotin. We'll see you next time.